Hello everyone, my name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Renfield. With it being October, I wanted to give you guys a few videos this month to, kind of fit with the spooky season vibe. And so I thought a first one would be Renfield that came out earlier this year. So in this film, this follows Renfield, who is Dracula's assistant, who is really wanting more from life. He's not wanting to work for Dracula anymore. And so this immediately kind of sets you up for an interesting premise and a good idea for a potential comedy. I did like the trailer, so I had some hope going into this film. I gotta say, unfortunately, I wasn't the biggest fan of this. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. I think the biggest issue with this film for me is that it's a comedy, but I don't necessarily find it super funny. And that's tough because comedy is subjective. Comedy, I think, is probably one of the hardest films to do because different things hit people differently. So what I find funny might not be funny to you, vice versa. There were a few chuckles here throughout the film, but there's not really any like big laugh out loud moments for me. And kind of throughout the film, I would say it's not consistently funny. I could tell that they had lines in the script that they thought were funny, but I didn't find it funny. I thought it was just kind of whatever for the most part. And if a comedy is not making you laugh, that's kind of hard to come back from. I don't necessarily think the script was really that strong at all either. I feel like it would have been better served as maybe like a 20 to 30 minute short film. Even though this is like a pretty quick movie, it's about 90-ish minutes. I think really like 20, 30 minute short film, that's probably about all of the content that this film had, really. So because of that, I kind of feel like to drag out the runtime, they tried to cram too many things here with a lot of the different side characters, and it just didn't really work. It felt a little messy. There was one part at the beginning that I thought was really neat. They were able to recreate some moments from old Dracula movies, and I thought that was really cool. The film also had narration. I'm not the biggest fan of narration in a film, although it can be done right. I don't think it necessarily was done right here, and I feel like the film almost forgot about it because there was a long portion of this movie that did not have any narration, and by the time it came back, I almost forgot that this movie had narration. And this film is completely filled with movie tropes. If you watch movies, you see these kind of over and over, and it feels a little bit lazy, maybe a little bit paint by numbers. You got the cop who wants to do more than what they're given, and that same cop, they had a father who was also on the police force that died in the line of action, and there's a strained relationship with a sibling, and we have a villain who wants to take over the world. We have a corrupt police force that's working with one of the crime families in the city. It's just a lot of that throughout this film, and pretty much if you can think of a trope, there's a decent chance that it's in this film somewhere. There's a lot of terrible CGI, blood, and other effects like that all throughout this film. It does not look good. It's really distracting, and I feel like maybe it would have been a little bit better if they tried these things practically, but I feel like they were going for a little bit of like a Deadpool over-the-top violence kind of thing, but they didn't get there. Some of the action in this film is surprisingly good, and it has some really good wire work, and I think it's shot relatively well. I just think it's kind of butchered a little bit in the edit. It can be a little bit disorienting from time to time. Another issue I have, and this does relate back to the script, but I think the characters kind of across the board are very shallow. You can honestly describe them in like 1 or 2 sentences, and it wouldn't really be a long discussion to talk about their character arcs in the film. I love Nicholas Hoult. You probably heard me say that before in a couple of other videos. Nicholas Hoult, bare minimum, is good in anything he's in. And so he's good here. I wish they gave him more to work with. There's some really interesting emotions and depth they could have given him, but they just barely scratched the surface here. Going into this film, I also forgot that Awkwafina was in this, and she's kind of our second lead character, and she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her performance. Her character's just not really given much. Her character is the one that has a ton of the tropes attached, and there's just not much that makes her character interesting. I didn't realize that Ben Schwartz was in this going into the film, and that was a very welcomed surprise. He was good in this. Like, I enjoyed seeing him. A lot of the laughs came from his character. He was just a really welcomed addition. Nick Cage as Dracula is honestly exactly what you would expect. It's completely over the top and crazy. He's so intense in this role, but it's good. It's entertaining. He finds a way to be completely ridiculous and over the top, but it works. So overall, I'd say there's some good things here. There's some fun and entertaining performances. There's some good action, and there's a couple laughs to be had throughout the film. However, there's just not enough good here for me to outright recommend it to everyone. Again, it's comedy. Comedy is very subjective. What I find funny, you might not find funny, vice versa. So you might love this film. I'm not in that camp. I think overall they were really going for kind of a Deadpool vibe with like the action and the comedy. I just feel like they missed the mark quite a bit. I think I can only give it a 2 out of 5, and who knows, maybe if I think on a little bit more, it might go down a little bit. But right now, I'm going to say my score is a 2 out of 5. And that's it. That's my review of Renfield. Did you like this film unlike me? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. We're getting closer and closer to 100 subscribers. So if you would consider subscribing, that would make my day. Go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. And I'll see you next time.